So we're going to see how do you actually make these calculations? How do you determine how much you pay for the Chamesh Devarim of Chavala, of an injury? Now, we've started looking at this already. We've said the Mishnah can be broken into 5 sections. The Mishnah you use all have it broken up already, so we don't have to go through this more. But we're going to go through each one at a time and take a look at how they work. Now, you have the sheets with these printed out. If you don't, you can take these down. Right now, these are the ones with the first mikra, the nezek of permanent damage. Nezek ketzad. Sima et eno, kata et yado, shiba et raglo, roim oto ki'ilu hu eved nimkar b'shuch, v'shamim kama haya yafe, v'kama hu yafe. We take a look at them as if they're a slave. Now, slavery is a thing that we're very sensitive to. Baruch Hashem, we don't want it. And in the times of the Mishnah, it was very, very common. Now, that's a reality. Chazal actually discouraged it a lot, right? But it is also very different than American slavery. It was much less cruel. It was much less violent. And it was much less racially motivated. So 2 points here, right? There's slavery in the time of the Mishnah were very different than they were in American history, as well as it was a reality. So we use that system to benefit ourselves and trying to figure out our system to make a money value for the person, even though Chazal actually discouraged it. Instead, the way we do it is Nezek Ketzad. How do we calculate Nezek? Ketzad means how do we do it? How do we calculate it here? So Tzima et Einov, if somebody blinded someone's eye, right, they made a permanent injury, they blinded their eye, or they kata et yado, they cut off their hand, someone's hand. Shiba et raglo, they broke their leg. In those days, a broken leg was a permanent injury. They really couldn't heal it. Those are 3 options of permanent injury. Sima et eino is a blinding someone's eye. Kata et yado, they cut their hand. Shiba et raglo, they broke their leg. 3 examples. Not necessarily the only examples, but 3 of them. What do we do in those cases? Royanoto ki'iluhu eved nimchar b'shuch. We look at him, royanoto. We look at them ki'ilu, as if who they were an eved, a slave, nimchar b'shuch, sold in the marketplace. Shamim, they calculate. Kama haya yafe, how much were they worth? Kama hu yafe, how much are they worth now? We can take the amount that they were worth previously and the amount that they're worth now, and we subtract them. Whatever the difference between those 2 numbers is, that is going to be the nezek value. Again, sima et eino, they blind his eye, keta et yado, shiba et raglo, those 3 cases are the nezek, what happened. Roimato ki'ilu hu eved nimkar b'shuch, we look at him as if, ki'ilu, as if they were eved nimkar b'shuch, a slave sold in the market. V'shamim kama haya yafe, we calculate how much were they worth. V'kama hu yafe, how much are they worth? And we separate those 2 numbers. That is the first of the 5 things. The nezek, how do we calculate that? The second of the things is tsa'ar. I always thought that tsa'ar is the most complicated, most difficult to do. The reason for that is that it is very subjective. In fact, that's actually how we're going to do it. Take these words down if you don't have them. If you do have them already, fantastic, we'll move on. So, tsar. Now, the Mishnah does not say ketzad, it just says tsar. We know it means ketzad. How do you calculate it? So I put them in these brackets. Kava'o b'shapud or b'masmar v'filo al tziparno. Right? Something that is not causing any nezek. Just let's say pain. Now, if it causes nezek also, we'll calculate it accordingly. But let's just give the example of something that doesn't permanently injure. He burns him with a skewer or with a nail, or even on his fingernail, which is not going to impact later on. Makom she'eno ose chabura. It doesn't make a wound, doesn't make something that needs to heal, just hurts a lot. Omdim, we calculate, we estimate. Kama adam kayotze bezerotze lito liyot mitzta'er kach. How much, how much? Adam kiyotze bezeh, a similar person, someone with a similar pain tolerance, a similar build, rotze lito, how much they want to take, meaning how much money do they want to take? Liot mitzta'er kach, to have this level of pain. How much would a person take to give us a belly flop, to pour cold water on their head, to whatever it would be, right? Again, we imagine kavu b'shafud, if you get burned with a skewer or mismar or a nail, mefila atziparna, wherever it is, somewhere that doesn't do that. Now, of course, if it does make a wind, that we're going to factor in similarly. Omdim, we calculate, we estimate. Kama adam kayotse bezerotze litoli yot mitzla'er kach. How much does a person like this, rotze litol, want to take? How much money do they want to take? Liyot mitzla'er kach, to have this level of pain. We calculate. Could be Beit Din asks them. We ask a similar person, how much would you want to be paid to have this level of pain? Now, whatever that says, that is the money for tsar. Ripoy is actually much simpler, right? Again, these words if you don't have them yet. And it's going to be pretty simple here, right? Ripoy, ketzad. I'm going to plug it in there. Hikahu chayev lerpoto. If he hits him, he has to pay him. He has to heal him. Now, not everyone's a doctor, so they're going to have to pay for healing them. So, alu bo tzamachim, if scabs come up, im machmas hamaka, chayev. If they are because of the wound, machmas hamaka means they're because of the wound, chayev. They have to pay for them. They have to pay for their healing. Shalom machmas hamaka, pator. If the injury or the wounds or the scabs, whatever it is, are not because of the injury, pater, right? Let's say they go to the hospital because of this, the incident, the nezek, and they find out they have a cavity. Well, the person who hit them is not obligated to pay for the cavity. It has nothing to do with the wound. If they knocked out a tooth, and that tooth has to be fixed, right? Obviously that would be part of it. So Allah about tzmachim, this is the example if they have scars or wounds or scabs. If it's because of the wound, they are chayev. Shalom machmatamaka patur. It's very simple. Whatever is because of the injury, they do have to pay. Here's where it gets a little more complicated. Chayta benistara. Chayta means it heals. Benistara means it opens up again. Chayta benistara, it does it again, right? It keeps starting to heal, but then it's opened, it gets infected, it gets something happened. Chayev lerpoto, it still has to pay for them. The continued medical expenses, they still have to pay for. Chayta kotzarcha, however, if it heals kotzarcha, if it heals entirely all that it needs to, and then 3 years later he gets a cut in the same place, he does not have to heal him because that's clearly not part of the injury. It's only because of that. So again, hikahu chayev l'rapoto. If he hits him, he has to pay for it. He has to heal him. Alu bo smachim. If wounds come up, if scabs come up, imach matamaka, it's because of the injury. Chayev has to pay for it. Shalom matamaka, not because of the maka. Patur. Chayta v'nestara, if it heals and opens, chayta v'nestara, heals and opens, chayev l'repoto, he has to heal him. Chayta kotzarka, if it heals entirely, totally healed, eino chayev l'repoto, he does not have to pay for him. Fairly self-explanatory, fairly clear. Now, even more complicated is shevet. Shevet, lack of income, right? Take these words out if you don't have them, and they might look really strange to you, right? We say shevet. Royanoto ki'ilu hu shomer kishuyim. Again, that royanoto, we look at him as if ki'ilu hu shomer kishuyim. He's a cucumber guard. A cucumber guard does not need to be able to do all that much. They really just need to be able to sit there and scare away the rabbits. Say, hey, you rabbit, don't eat that. That's it. Not so skilled. After the person's injured, that might be really all they're able to do. We already gave them the value of their hand or foot. What does that mean? So, question. What does it mean that we should give them the value of the cucumber guard? Why should we do that? Shouldn't we give them payment for their job? That should be the question we're thinking, and the Bartanura deals with it. The Bartanura deals with all the days of the illness while they are sick. We see him as if he's a watchman of cucumbers and provide his salary for each day. We're going to pay him with the garment of a cucumber guard because he's not able to do another job. We're paying him for what he's able to do, even without illness, because his hand is cut off or his leg or he's injured. He's already been given that value. What does that mean? Let's see like this. Let's get an example. Let's say the person before the nezek was worth $50,000 as an avid. Let's use an easy number. After the nezek, you're $30,000. So the payment for nezek is $20,000. Let's say their schar was $40,000 a year before the injury. And then to the Shomer Kashoyim's schar, his salary is $20,000. The difference is $20,000. The fact that we gave that nezek here, and then we're given the difference of that, right? $20,000 nezek. The difference in the salary of his job versus the Shomer Kashoyim is that $20,000, because he already got that difference from nezek. We don't have to give it again for shevet. Now, if the numbers didn't work out so perfectly, we would have to adjust them. And whatever they're able to do, they're going to give them that. The difference, the huge difference in numbers between their job and the Shomer Kashoyim is going to be made up for with the nezek value. If he can't work or she can't work, then that's going to be paid for with nezek, not in shevet. That's going to be that big difference. So why don't we give them the payment for their job? Because while they're injured, they're not able to do another job, so they're not deserving of that much. And even if they have earned more, they already received the nezek, so the ultimate payment value is going to be fair, even though we're not giving the shevet value as high. The last category is boshet, and this is, again, very going to be complicated, and it's going to really be subjective and based on who it is. Boshet, hakol lefi hamavayesh umitbayesh. Everything is going to be according to the fee, according to hamavayesh, the person embarrassing, and hamitbayesh, and the person that's getting embarrassed. It really depends on who they are and what the circumstances are. Hamavayesh is the arom. If you embarrass a naked person who has already demonstrated that they don't have so much dignity or honor for themselves, they're walking around without clothes on, that's embarrassing themselves. Hamavayesh the suma, or a blind person that might not even know that they're being embarrassed because they can't see. Hamavayesh the yashen, or a sleeping person who doesn't even know that they're being embarrassed because they're sleeping. Chayav. You are still chayav. The hav amina here, what you would have thought is that because they're already embarrassing themselves, or because they don't know about it, or because they're really totally unaware they're sleeping, maybe every pater. They don't feel that embarrassment. The Mishnah tells us that you're chayav, because that person's kavod, that person's dignity, that selam elokim, that godly image, that honor we have to give them, it still applies. Now, the flip side of this, though, is vayashan shemayish. If a person is sleeping and they embarrass, if let's say they roll over and do something embarrassing, they whack someone, they're putter. The reason for that is they need to have kavana, they need to have intention to the action to be chayav for boshet. You only are chayav if you mean to do it. So I'm vayish the aram if you embarrass a naked person. I'm vayish at the suma, or a blind person. I'm vayish the yashen, or someone sleeping. You are chayav. If the yashan is yesh, they are putter. New case here, nafal min hagag, if someone falls off a roof, mean to. Behizich uviyish, and they cause damage, they also embarrass them. Chayev ala nezek upatur al boshet. They're chayev for any nezek they call, because they have to be careful of their body, but they're patur for the boshet, again, because they didn't mean to. The Mishnah says that the pasuk that we learn boshet from seems it's a very active thing. They send their hand out to do it. They grab them in an embarrassing way. They do it in purpose. Eino chayev ala boshet ad shehiyeh mitkaven. You are not chayev for boshet until ad shehiyeh mitkaven. The mitkaven means on purpose. We've seen that before this year. One more time. Boshet hakol lefi mevayesh umitbayesh. Everything is according to the person that is embarrassing and the person that is embarrassed. Hamavayesh da'aram. You embarrass a naked person. Mevayesh the psuma. You embarrass a blind person. Mevayesh the yashen. Blind a sleeping person. Chayev. A yashan should be yesh, pater. A sleeping person that embarrasses is pater. Nafal min hagag, if he falls off a roof, vechizik v'yesh, he causes nezek, he also embarrasses. Chayev ala nezek v'pater ala boshet. It's chayev for the nezek and pater for the boshet. Shneimar v'shalcha yada v'hagzicha v'shai, he sends out her hand and grabs him and embarrasses him. Eino chayev ala boshet ad sheyeh mitchaven. You're not chayev for boshet until it is on purpose. Right? The penalty of boshet depends on who is embarrassed and causing embarrassment and who is embarrassed. And you're only chayav if you have kavana, you intended to do the embarrassing thing. Those are those 5. And yeah, you're ready to really go through and apply this Mishnah. Yeshakach.